This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
Welcome to Joy of Painting. I'm Bob Ross. Today, a Polyscape. Got the brush loaded up with some light ochre and some burnt umber. Just gonna let those go wherever they need to. And now let's paint the forest floor. Here we go, just right around here. Just as easy as you want to be. And we'll put a couple birds over here on the side. And if anything's going wrong in the forest, they'll hear it. Of course, these little forest creatures, if there's something wrong in the forest, they'll see it. And oh, I think that little birdie smells some barbecue. And oh, hey, DP, guess what's going wrong in the back row? Okay, well, let's paint the bottom right now, the bottom area. Let's get some pitch black, some coal black, some evil ebony, and some soulless bastard, and just let the brush go wherever it wants to. Just, no accidents, just happy mistakes. And here we go. We'll just fill in that space right around here, just all up on the edges. Don't worry about the neatness there, just wherever you need to put it to be. Okay, all right, I think that's all the time we have for now. Until next time, happy painting. God bless, and the box score starts now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes out in Milford, Connecticut. I'll be at the Bar Show. If you are watching the show from a bar, and then thanks for playing along at home. This Brady Hoke situation seems to be getting out of control. Paulie, do you think he can ever rein in this mess?
Well, yes, he actually can. All he has to do is win the next game and the game in front of him. This is kind of one of those, is it a red herring, Clevin? This story is not about what he did with the quarterback. Yes. It's about the franchise. I call Michigan football's a franchise, and the franchise is in disarray, and this is just like a real easy thing to poke on.
Yeah, like whenever a coach is going to get fired, you're right. I think Dan said this on air. They start finding other things that are wrong, cracks in the foundation. When things were going good, and somebody said the other day, Urban Meyer, when things were kicking it down, killing it in Florida, I mean, you could have had basically a live alligator on the team eating people, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, it's funny though. You look at it, Michigan football. The coach
actually would have been less of a crime than most of his players were.
Yeah, it actually would. Michigan football, which was the face of Michigan football historically, is Bo Schembechler being a tough SOB and like working his players to death, and then a Michigan football coach could lose his job for being, I guess, not tough, but like not caring. I mean, it's just funny how times have changed. Like 10 years ago, this is a non-story. 5 years ago, this is a non-story. We have changed, but sometimes old football coaches don't change.
I look at the concussion thing and Brady Hoke more as a symptom of the overall problem that he has. Not necessarily like that. Well, this is just one thing we can pick on, but more. It sort of has been a culmination of all of the sort of aloof, but not behavior that he has, but sort of like, I don't really know what's going on, but it's kind of good because I'm a defense guy. And you're like, no, wait a minute, dude, you're the head coach. You're the guy who's in charge of everything. You have to know everything that's going on. You can't just, I don't know, it's not my side of the ball. Like, yeah, it is. Yeah, now it is.
He's like the caveman lawyer football coach. Yeah. Like this thing where they pass the ball forward, I don't know.
Inside this phone talking to me, I don't know.
Yeah.
All Brady Hoke's quirks were funny when they were, 9-3. They're like, okay, that's funny. The guy with the tight shirt and the hairy arms and no headset.
But kind of surprisingly funny too, though. Like, remember how shocked we were when we were like, wait, you don't know what play you're calling right now? You no interest in that?
Everyone else is listening to the game except for you.
If you're a fan of Michigan, you probably never thought you would hear the words uttered, big game against Rutgers, until Drew Sharp gave this take.
Finish this sentence. If Michigan loses to Rutgers.
Brady Hoke's going to be fired Sunday morning.
What about the AD?
He should be the next one to go. Dave Brandon should not be allowed to hire the next head coach. When you consider he couldn't land Jim Harbaugh, he couldn't land Les Miles, there is more divisiveness in that Michigan football family now than there's been even in the Rich Rodriguez era. Dave Brandon is trying to prove to the regents who run the university and the new university president that he made a mistake with Brady Hoke. He'll do better the next time. Should he be allowed to get that second chance to hire a head coach? I don't think so.
Wow, Drew dropping the hammer. I couldn't totally tell what he was saying because it wasn't the best phone line.
Wow.
What?
That opens the door.
That opens the door, all right. Now, what happened there, Brock, if you would have followed that tape up and gone to break, we have a long break, about a 7-minute break at the top of the hour. As soon as the phone went bad, crapped out, pardon the pun, Fritzy ran to the bathroom. Fritzy ran to the bathroom and basically bunkered himself down in the bathroom for the next 8 minutes. So he not only did he have to go to the bathroom, I'm sure he did, but he didn't have to suffer the wrath of Dan whilst being.
I legitimately had to use the restroom.
You weren't at all confused.
I wasn't hiding from Dan. I spoke with him, with Drew, and it sounded a little off the phone. I asked him to move, and then after he moved, it sounded a lot better. And then obviously these things happen in the course of it. If you listen to the interview closely, there were some moments where there wasn't a problem. Then
there were some moments I could hear, yes.
So I will say that much. But I did tell him if he could move somewhere else, and then it got clearer what happens once you put him on hold, and then while the interview's happening, it's not the first time, won't be the last time. We'll continue to have these phone issue conversations. It's just the way it goes sometimes.
Would you prefer we just stop bringing it up?
Unless we think that's of national interest, the phone line issues.
So it has to be made into a bigger thing, like it's a national story. And what would you prefer to talk about?
I don't know, whatever's on the rundown beyond the clicking of the phone.
I'm looking on the rundown, and it says to continue talking about bad communication and number 2. So let's go to the Pats right now. Seton, at what point did you turn off that Chiefs-Patriots game last night?
Oh, man, right between third and fourth quarter. I didn't stay for the fourth quarter. I went to bed. I was like, you know what? I stay up too late every night, and I'm really not missing a whole hell of a lot here. So I'm just going to go to bed. There was no chance of them coming back. Tom Brady wasn't even playing anymore. I'm like, F this, I'm out.
All right, well, folks are trying to figure out why the Pats played so wicked horrible last night, and Rodney Harrison thought he had the solution to the problem.
It's not just about scheme. It's not just about the coaching staff. You have to have the personnel to be able to go out there and make those plays. Rob Gronkowski, I think you'll see him coming off ACL injury. He's not going to be the same. He'll never be the same player. He can still be a very good tight end and one of the best in the league, but he's not going to be the same. Darrelle Revis coming off ACL. I think that's what you see in him. I've had an ACL, and my knee to this day, no matter how much I rehab it, no matter how much I run, cut, and do all those different things, you will never return to the player that you once was. And I think that's what you're starting to see with this team.
Man, Patriots it looks like the same team that Rodney Harrison was on is still out there, but like modern day. They look old and tired and slow and not even remotely close to a creative football team. So, I don't know. But then again, this week, they'll blow out the Bengals and it'll be like, where are all the doubters now? And I don't know. It's sort of up and down.
You would think that a Monday Night Football game blowout would not be a good topic the next day on the show, but it's actually a great topic. If the Chiefs would have won that game 14-13 in a close one, okay, that's not that interesting. But the Chiefs just waxing these guys on national TV, like public embarrassment that just stretched out over hours, is a great topic. So it's weird because what happens in the game doesn't necessarily make a great topic. Like if it was a 45-44 shootout, what's the storyline though? So that's what Dan always asks, and that one had a great storyline.
And Dan was talking about how much a lot of people are enjoying seeing the what looks like a possible demise of the Patriots and their dynasty, and I for one was thoroughly enjoying that. Normally you would root against an AFC West team, but looking in the long term, seeing.
So you don't put you don't ever really put your rooting interests aside. Like you really root against the Patriots.
I was rooting, even though the Chiefs are in Denver's division. New England going to 2-2, I think is best for Denver going forward, and seeing the pretty boy and the genius getting embarrassed on national TV.
Is that why we never have the pretty boy or the genius on the show? Because of your bias?
That's right.
Would you want to be a producer? Would you want to be a producer in the city of Denver, like on a radio show? Would that be? And I'm not making a joke here. Would you prefer it? Because then Denver Broncos have to be the #1 story always in that town.
Yeah.
Would you want to be a producer in the town of Denver?
I would probably be too biased. I would be better off like working for a team.
Like you're
supposed to be biased there, yeah.
Yeah, but I always saw myself, if I was working in Denver, to be like part of the Broncos organization would be like a dream job, as opposed to being a.
Do you think if they called you and offered you a job as in their management for their broadcasting division do you think you'd take it?
I don't know. It's something I would have to consider seriously and talk to Dan about if that was something that ever happened in the near future. But also there's other issues and there's family and relocating, I think. But just the job itself, depending on what it was,
You're like the other side of the booking process. Like producers were calling you, and now you're.
Yeah, you could be
you
could be a PR director for the Broncos.
Sure you
probably.
could.
But
I think you'd have to work a lot harder.
You'd be fired before the season is out because you'd say yes to every single interview. So you'd have Peyton on 30.
Or you'd say maybe to every single interview.
Yeah.
But the idea of having an office, that like overlooks the stadium and the big horse at the top would be pretty awesome.
That's interesting. Keep an eye on that.
Seton, sorry for your Pats in the big blowout last night. Speaking of blowouts after this, can the Man Cave handle another Fritz? I think the boss thinks so.
Honestly, do you really think they're going to bring another Fritz into this place? Like, that threat doesn't really scare me. I mean, him constantly saying he's going to fire me scares me, but you're going to bring in another Todd? Is that really what we need to spice up the show? No way. Come on. He's not going to. He wouldn't, would he? Would he?
Welcome back to the box score. You just saw McLovin in the box there, not breaking his glasses, but actually scoffing at the idea that Todd's brother Ira would replace him. Fritzy, what if they did bring in your brother? What would you do?
If it meant me or him, I would like to continue and stay. I think my brother offers a lot, and if he had the opportunity to write and do what he does, that he's been doing at the mothership in some capacity, I always thought that he'd be a great addition. But we have the Fantastic Four here now with Dan, and I think we're doing just fine. I don't see, and Dan has said it on many occasions, I don't see anyone really being added to the group. But knowing my brother and how smart and well thought out he is, and clever and funny, he would be able to add something.
Well, Fritzy, the boss broke down a few possible scenarios about bringing your brother in, and I think the last one may have sparked your interest.
What if your brother was trying to backdoor to get on the show, but it meant McLovin? But it meant McLovin was going to lose his job.
Well, Andrew's very talented. He's got a Sports Illustrated career.
So you'd be fine if McLovin got screwed over by your brother.
If anything, we'll have a fifth Dan.
So when your brother stabs some of the Danettes in the back,
he's not stabbing anybody in the back, and I'm not letting McLovin's not going.
Would you trade Paulie for your brother?
Would I trade him?
Straight up.
Talent-wise, as far as
no, would you trade him? Would you trade him?
I'll get back to you.
Two things. First of all, if you notice, I told Dan to ask that question. For Fritzy to say, I'll get back to you on that is a strong yes. Right, Seton? I mean, you could analyze that one.
Oh.
Fritzy, if you put a gun to your head or you said, yes or no right now, would you trade me for your brother? Your answer would be yes or no.
No, but Paulie's great at what he does. No, Paulie needs to be here and be a big part of things. That would not be I
think you're lying to me
now.
I
would enjoy having my brother here with us, but not at the expense of
Seton, I want to ask you, in your opinion, is Todd telling the truth right now?
Yeah, I think he is.
Are you telling the truth right now?
I think, yeah. I don't think anybody really wants to listen. We all know Ira's not very talented, okay? We're just playing nice with Todd. And Paul actually is kind of good at a couple of things, so that puts him over.
Yeah, sibling aside, I've worked with Paulie long enough, and he is by far the right man for the job, and we've all been working together a long time. I would not trade my brother for any of the Danettes. If we were being hypothetical, it would be for him, in some capacity, as an
When you leave for the Broncos, are you going to recommend Ira gets you?
Probably would. I think Ira would be the first one to mention that. I don't think he'd want any.
What if the Broncos hired Ira because you said?
Oh man, can you imagine?
Ira Fritz running the show, Mr. Bronco. He and Peyton Manning are just hand in hand drinking cherry cola or whatever you drink, Fritzy. Diet Mountain Dew.
Yoo-hoo, Tab. I can't. I couldn't.
I actually may leave this show by choice and take over the Broncos PR duties and just Fritzy, I took the job that you didn't want.
Constantly sending me pictures, hanging out with the Broncos.
Me and Peyton just cruising around.
You do get compared to Costanza a lot, and he had a long carear with the Yankees.
That's right. So there you go. So we could tie.
Remember when he makes a trade proposal? Like, are you the guy who put us in that Ramada in Milwaukee?
Just don't suggest they change their uniforms to wool. How about this, Fritzy? Chrissy Teigen or your brother?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go Chrissy Teigen there. After that opportunity to serenade her with that and the boots and the shorts, and I can give you 1,000 reasons why I'd have to take Chrissy Teigen. The thought of having my brother in that position would be wrong in 10 million different ways.
Well, also, you'd have a mutiny on your hands if you chose Ira over Chrissy. We love Ira, but come on, dude.
Yeah, getting an opportunity to spoon with Chrissy Teigen and sing All of Me,
I've seen both of the parties in a bathing suit, and it's not even a contest.
Although they could share tops.
Well said.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Wow, was that a cup-size joke?
Is there a bro situation going on?
That was a cup-size joke.
It's a man's ear. It's a man's ear. Coming up, Kevin James calls in and rates the Danettes' acting skills.
If we were going to create a draft profile for Kevin James, fullback, well, how would you assess yourself?
Well, you got lightning speed. That you get that picture right away.
Of course.
And speed is broken down into quickness, power, jukiness. I had a lot of jukiness. I was very jukey.
Jukiness.
Welcome back to the Box Score. The boss having a lot of fun with Kevin James right off the bat. McLovin, do you think Kevin has enough junk in the trunk to be a fullback in the NFL?
Wow. He sure looks like if you were going to cast a fullback, I think he'd be
totally
perfect. Like, he is a Green Bay Packers fullback. And now it turns out he really played fullback at Cortland State.
Fourth and 1, 4th and inches. I'd give it to Kevin. I think he could pick up that yard.
Brock, on a side note, Kevin James, I thought he did really well. It was a really funny segment, one of his better ones. That being said, he's probably been on the show, I'm guessing, Seton 6 times. We've probably met him 2 or 3 times now, or been in his presence. I can't think of anyone I've spent more time with has less of an idea who I am.
Well, you guys had the chance to work
idea
with
who the
Kevin.
NFL.
Maybe you didn't pick out who you guys were, but you worked with him on was Adam Sandler's latest effort, Pixels, and then Kevin gave this review of your acting.
It became pretty obvious right away, I got to say. It really was apparent that the acting ability amongst all of you would Moesha had better stuff than you guys back in the day from that show, and I love Moesha's show. I'm not kidding. But you guys, you know what? You somehow made it work. I don't know if it was the sum of all parts, and it came together, though, didn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, he clearly had no idea what role we played in this film. He's like, all you guys out there, and and the cameras were rolling, and there was makeup. Like, he was just generally very generic.
I think if Dad put him on the spot and asked him to name like one of the Danettes or describe in any way,
or what role we did in that movie.
Okay, well, listen. The first time that we were in a movie, it was clear that one of the Danettes screwed up.
Yeah.
And that was definitely an issue. And then it was resolved, and we sort of moved on from there. This time, though, we were really like 4 out of 100 extras. So there's really almost nothing that we 4 Danettes could have done to hold up or screw up.
No matter how hard we tried.
Now, Kevin James had said that the acting, all of our acting was bad, but there's really no way the Danettes could have messed that up.
Now, there is an issue here, Broccoli. Dan was in the scene as well. He right in with us.
And he's the only one that had lines.
Dan had a few lines, and he had to redo his lines. He had to do, I would say, 4 or 5 extra takes after the initial set of takes.
45 extra takes? Or
4 or 5, I think it's fair.
I was just saying it's close to 45.
Yeah, I may be rounding down. Here's the thing.
The word tape change comes to mind.
If you would have looked a little earlier on that film, Seton and I were discussing how to bring up Dan's flubbing that may have caused some extra takes. Kevin James was ready to get on a plane and go to Florida.
Yeah, he was already like, he had filmed his scenes in a suit, and then within moments was in like sweatpants and pajamas.
He had one of those neck things on and those things you put over your eyes to go to sleep. He was ready to go, and he had to do a few extra takes because of situations.
Quite a few extra
And we were trying to figure out a way to get that on the air. And I said to Seton, you may have to ask this. I don't know. And we almost did it.
We're like, do we bring this up right now with Dan? And then, like, well, they'll probably naturally get into it. And the way Dan naturally got into it was by saying, how terrible were the Danettes? It's funny because we're not the ones that had any more.
But there were a few times, which was weird. The famous director Chris Columbus, had Dan do it over a few times. But Dan had done it like the exact way that Chris Columbus was telling him, and listen to my ear.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you there.
I thought there was a few times when he said it exactly the way he was asked to say it, and then it was a.
Are we going here now?
You know what, since we're keeping it real, I was sitting right next to Dan, and he was delivering a line, and it was a pretty simple line, but the inflection, I think, was important to Chris Columbus, the director. And Dan was saying one thing, and what he said was fine. I thought there was nothing wrong with his line. But the director kept saying, hey, Dan, say it like this. And then he'd do it, and the director would say, no, say it like this. And Dan goes, and he's whispering to me, he goes, I think that's what I'm saying. I go, no. And I'm trying to tell him, but there's also not a lot of time to have a discussion. Like, all right, ready, 3, 2, 1, go. And so it was, and we're all looking at each other. I could see the other Danettes' faces. It's like, Dan is not hearing what he's saying, and it's really a semantics thing, an inflection thing.
I got to be honest. I was with Dan. I did not hear I did not understand what the director was saying.
I think you're being a little.
No, I mean totally. Like the director, he's like, "Are we here yet?" No, say, "Are we here yet?" I just like honestly, I couldn't understand what they were trying to get Dan to do. Because I thought that also there were multiple instructions to Dan.
That's true. There was Dan did have that thing. He had Adam Sandler telling him one thing, and then Chris Columbus came out and told him another thing. So that was a little tough on Dan. And plus, he's being told that in front of 100 people extras, another 100 cast people, and you think this is a tense atmosphere? Forget it. That's a much more tense atmosphere.
And Dan has a little bit of a background in receiving direction in his ear and many years on television. So when he hears something, he's not the kind of person that needs to be told over and over again. That's why I was kind of surprised sitting there that I thought he said it exactly the way they're asking him to say it. He pretty much nails it. And when he's asked to do something, he knows how to perform.
We're background actors. I don't really like the term extra.
Background actors.
Nothing more tense than the box score. Okay, guys, still to come. Will Fritzy ever lose his cool one day? We'll see what the boss thinks.
Fritzy's got mock headlines on the Chiefs' win over the New England Patriots. You ready, Fritzy?
I am.
All righty.
Give him Arrowhead. Chiefs arouse our interest. Snuck that in.
Whoa.
Welcome back to the box score. Fritzy firmly in the crosshairs there, and just when you thought the boss was going to drop a daisy cutter on him, Paulie gets the blame for the slip-up. Paulie, are you going to face the wheel of punishment?
I'm not. My punishment was to buy lunch for the crew. Now, that being said, I made the mistake of saying I didn't get the emails. The mistake was doing that on the air. But, I didn't see that beforehand, or else I don't think I would have approved that. I know I wouldn't approve that.
But again, to Paulie's credit, though, and he's also got several other things going on during the course of the show than to worry about the fourth of my 11 mock headlines. I could have made it a little clearer, and so I'm going to accept at least a part of that blame. Not so much where I was going to chip in for lunch or anything. Let's not get crazy. But I could have put it in a different color or put some kind of little markation. It's like in parentheses.
Like put the phrase FCC violation next to it.
Just something that would have brought Paulie's eyes to
FCC
that one to make sure he's aware, hey, this is, can we get away with this?
It's all right, my resume's good.
You know, one thing I noticed there, Dan goes, well, do you want to face a wheel of punishment for it? Like, I don't know. I'm like, do I want to face a wheel of punishment? You know, I'm going to say no. Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate you offering that. Wheel of punishment with no positive side. Yeah. Do you want to face a wheel? Dan's eager, by the way. We have to be careful.
Fritzy, it's been a rough week for you already. No thanks to the box score, I'm sure. And we asked the boss if you would ever snap. Here's a little boss's thoughts for you.
If he hasn't snapped already, he's not going to snap. He's just, I thought I'd made progress with him. I really have thought that I've made progress with him. I remember the first time when all the families went out to dinner, and I said something about Fritzy, and then his wife goes, you know he's going to be crying to me our entire ride home. And I went, oh my God. And my wife even said, boy, you got some work ahead of you. And I thought, nah. He takes his job seriously, takes it to heart. So do I want him to sacrifice a little bit of heart to be a little tougher? Nah, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, and I appreciate the concern. I've probably snapped a number of times, just not maybe in front of everyone here, where in the privacy of my own house, where I'm thinking about maybe something I may need to do to get.
What's that look like?
that's just getting angry or depressed or replaying parts of the show or conversations in my head, whether it be in the car or at home. It's just not a pretty thing. I'm not like throwing a fit or throwing things or anything. But I need to, and we've talked about this for years now. The toughening up. But I do take things a little too much to heart. I get upset and crazed for anything from a bad phone line to a guest canceling to whatever it is. I don't handle that well. I like having everything all lined up, but life doesn't just fall into place like that. And with this job, you have to be able to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I deserve that. That's fair.
God bless. That's good producing.
I was going to continue for at least another 30 seconds.
Oh, I know.
I don't know how much time is left.
We were just watching Groundhog Day, and we're watching it again here.
Okay. Just continue into who's on tomorrow, Fritzy, please.
UCLA quarterback Brett Hundley will join us tomorrow, and our good friend Warren Sapp, a Hall of Famer of the NFL Network, will also be part of Wednesday's show. And I'm going to go get some pharmaceuticals and see if I can get those levels right, and hope to see you guys on Wednesday.
Better health to you, buddy. Thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Audience Channel 239 right here on DirecTV, or catch the podcast available on iTunes or podcast1.com. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey! Thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.